Hey guys, so in this series, I'm trying to come up with a redesign for a detective character for an upcoming comic book series, and I thought it'd be interesting to show a little bit about my process. So I'm going to break this series down into probably three parts. In this first part, I'll be covering ideation, thumbnails, and just using reference and just the early stages of character design. In part two, I will be doing more of a finished drawing, and then part three will be covering colors. So hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get started. Usually in the beginning, I just try to worry about the simple shapes when it comes to character design. Try not to worry so much about detail. I don't even really worry about what the character is wearing so much, other than maybe he has a big coat, or is he wearing skinny jeans, just so I can have some parameters to work with. I also find it helpful to start small, like just little thumbnails. So I deliberately just draw on a tiny corner of my screen. Now I draw on a 27-inch Cintiq, so it's really, I'm drawing on like 1/5 the size of my screen, just so I won't be too tempted and start rendering out the detail too early. So what I've done here is I knew that I wanted my detective Anchovy Akiyama to have like a detective's overcoat. I think at least I'm starting off with the really simple, like generic detective design that I had with the initial character. So I went from there. I'm not trying anything too crazy yet, because I'm still kind of just working out the nervous energy I have when starting anything new, really. So you can see now I zoom in and out just to see if the character is reading at a small scale. Now, if you can get your character to read, if you can get your character to be recognized as specifically him or her in a tiny, not very well drawn form, then your design is probably on the right track. So I've gotten my first one out of the way, and I'm moving on to my second one. And at this point, it's just all ideation. I'm not trying to make pretty drawings. I'm not trying to impress anybody with my drawing skills. I'm just testing out shapes. So I thought, okay, what if all his elements are the same? Let's say he's got kind of a mop of hair, he's got a tie, he's got a biggish coat, and he's got pants and shoes. What if we just keep all those the same and start playing around with the scale of those, and start making him a little bit taller, making him a little bit leaner. I made his tie longer, made his coat longer, just seeing what that would how that would influence the read of the character. Oh, and there's my Steam, and oh, here I am. What am I looking up? Jean jackets. Okay. Yeah, so I've moved on the third one. I think I've wanted to try a different direction, because the idea with this was to age the character down, and also maybe to kind of get away from the really generic private eye overcoat. Now I don't know whether this is a good idea, having a jean jacket, but I'm not worried about if my ideas are good right now. I'm just trying to generate them. I'm not trying to edit my own ideas before I even start playing around with them. I find that's actually really dangerous. Don't decide whether your ideas have any merit until you've actually tried them out. And I would even go so far as to say, don't let other people tell you whether your ideas are any good until you've tested it out yourself. It could be argued that no ideas are good or bad. It's really all in the execution. I don't know if that's true in every case, but that's kind of what I try to stay. That's my motto, I guess, what I'm trying to say. So, um, yeah. Now, so with this third jean jacket version, I'm finding by um, going this way, I'm having some other opportunities to play with things, like his cuff. I saw it from one of the examples that that very stylish man has rolled up his cuffs. It looks kind of cool. It makes him look younger, more casual, and most importantly, it breaks the silhouette between his jacket, his wrist, and his hands. So that's actually the most important I'm looking for, because with design, you want those shapes to read differently. What am I doing here? I think I'm looking more. Am I trying out leather? I'm looking for leather jackets now because that would make him hip. Believe I chose this Dirk Gently. I think that's the one. I'll probably edit this part out. There he is. Okay. Yeah. Thought I would try that. It's sort of the same kind of look. I mean, the material is different, but the shapes are pretty similar. Thought I would give that a try. Now I don't. Some people go really in depth. They do, like, I think I've seen people. You see it in concept art. Whoops, that's my Dropbox. They go really far with the silhouettes, and that's probably a good thing. I usually stop around 3 to 4, maybe 6 at most. And now I'm looking up sweaters. Yeah. Guys, I'm trying to get away from the traditional private eye, and I'm seeing like how far I can break the mode before I completely lose the fact that he's a detective and he's just some dude in a questionable sweater. So I think I'm kind of losing that a little bit. Although I kind of like all those patterns of that sweater. Now I think I didn't really do a leather version for that leather jacket reference because it was kind of the same. Other than the wrists not rolled up, the silhouettes are super similar. So there's really no point trying another version of that, I found, because I could do variations of that when I can get a little bit more detailed in the coloring and rendering stages. So now that I've got 4 little ideas, I start doing bigger drawings. Sometimes I just blow up my little thumbnails, but usually I find I get better success just by starting from the beginning and just drawing. So that way I don't have to be too married to that initial kind of crummy drawing I did initially. So here I am. I'm starting to fill them out. I can kind of slow down now. This part, believe it or not, this part is actually a lot easier than those first 4 doodles, because now you can you have a direction, and you can, if you're pretty comfortable with your draftsmanship, you can almost go on autopilot and just flow with your design sense. Yeah, so I guess I've even turned off those thumbnails now because I've got a direction I want to go in, and I don't need to refer to them anymore. That's one thing that I found really helpful too, is to stay really loose, stay really organic. Let your earlier decisions influence later ones, but don't be married to them. So just keep on going and let your design evolve into whatever direction it takes. And I think sometimes the best stuff comes that way. Sometimes you break your designs, but that's okay too. I mean, it's all digital. You can undo everything. But I find this way a lot more fun. Yeah, I think, yeah. Did I just reverse my canvas? That's another trick too. If you're not sure whether something's working, sometimes just keep on flipping the canvas horizontally. It's really helpful. Vertically, not so much, unless you have an awesome brain that can manage spatial translations. Yeah. So I'm still trying to, even though it's more of a real drawing now, I'm still worried about the overall read. One thing that I'd really like to do is have have the silhouette of his hair and head be kind of iconic, because with a character type like a detective, it's pretty generic. Like I haven't found really a good way to like make his overall silhouette. It's not like Batman where I can give him giant wings and he's got this cape and then these like white triangle like eyes. And it's like, oh, that's Batman. You can just draw some shapes and everybody knows that's Batman. The detective, it's a lot harder to make him seem unique. I'm trying to figure out the mouth. Actually, I find is that doesn't really add to like your silhouette of the character, but how big or small. Oh, I've lost pressure sensitivity. Happens sometimes. But how big or small in the angle of his mouth, like that shows a lot about his expression. Expressions can say a lot about the character. I usually don't like to draw characters, their expressions, even if they're neutral. I try to inject some life into it, just so I know. It's not to entertain other people. I mean, there's this like thought that you should give your characters life, so when the viewers are looking at it, they can get a sense of who this character is. It's for you, so you can get a sense of who your character is. So this is when I started having the ideas. Like, his name is Anchovy Akiyama. It's a bizarre name. It's not Anchovy is not even spelled correctly, but my partner Irma and we somehow stumbled on this name and we just really like it. So we kept it, and I just thought, like, what if I kind of added some kind of fish-like characteristics to him. Like, I don't want to make him look like a fish. I also don't want to make him look unappealing. But there was something about that that kind of tickled my fancy. I thought maybe it could be in his eyes. The idea for this character is the original idea was that he was an older character, but a very astute intellect. But I thought, like, oh, what if we never thought of a way to represent that? But I thought, like, what if this character is kind of lost in thought? His eyes just kind of, like, the pupils shrink a little bit. He gets a little bit wide-eyed. And what am I doing? I'm looking at Spotify.